So today on Sonny Talk Spurs, I'm joined by a good friend of the channel, a massive Fulham fan, previewing Tottenham versus Fulham on Monday. It's JCC, aka John. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. Thanks for having me. Honour to be here.
That's what I want to hear. You were saying before, honoured to be here. The Rory Jennings saying it's
The Rory Jennings saying.
He's an honour to be here anywhere and everywhere. But obviously, as I said beforehand, we're talking about Tottenham versus Fulham, our second meeting of the season. I'm sure we're going to get on to the first meeting a bit later on, but that's one of the negative points of Spurs' season so far. But to start, I want to have a bit of Fulham chat, directly. What have you made of Fulham so far this season? I'd say last season you proved a lot of doubters wrong. You finished a lot higher than people thought, but then in the summer, a lot of change, a lot of Saudi, fingers over Fulham pies. They wanted to get everyone, didn't they, out of the club? So
I'm surprised I was surprised they didn't try and buy the cottage at some point, Sonny. Honestly, they went for everything. We signed Willian on a new contract, and then they came in for him the next day. It was like we just signed him. What do I make of us? It's a weird one, mate. Last season was so fun, so exciting, and I think we surprised a lot of people. And we were hoping, as all Fulham fans, all football fans would want to do, is just progress. Where we didn't do that. We sold our best player, and granted he wanted to go, so there wasn't really a lot we could do about that with Mitrovic. But we sold him. We didn't replace him, really, with anyone that we're excited about. Raul Jimenez just doesn't seem to be it. Marco Silva, a lot of unrest around his position at the club and whether we're going to invest to back him to the next level. We finished ninth. So when you finish ninth in the Prem, you want to be progressing on and buying players that are going to either maintain that status in the top half or push you towards the European places. We haven't done that. So for me, it's a little bit disappointing, and it's a bit of it's just a bit of a boring season. I don't think we get relegated. I don't think we're going to be anywhere near where we were last season. It's just a bit dead.
That's the problem with that middle of the pack, like your Palaces and it's almost like, do you stick or twist? Like, do you actually take a risk and try and push on for Europe, or do you just be happy with finishing mid-table? But that's the thing with Fulham this summer as well. You signed like the likes of Iwobi, you kept Palhinha. But then there's still talk Palhinha could be off. What is a signing like Iwobi actually, inspiring to the team? Like, what have you sort of made of like how the squad has settled into like the start of the season as well?
Yeah, I mean the Palhinha one was crazy, right? He was basically out the door taking pictures at Munich, and I can't blame him for that. Honestly, I think he's a world-class player. He is a joke of a defensive mid. For him to be at Fulham, look, he did his job for us. We did a job for him. We put him on a world stage more than Sporting. But obviously, like, he's in the Prem, he's playing every week, so he's getting all the attention. And then we've got players, like, I always say, like, it just feels like we just go and get whoever's there. It's like Iwobi wasn't a transfer target, but 4 months, 3 months into the transfer, we've got no one else. Just get Iwobi, he's there. Just even with Willian, it worked with Willian, right? But that's what we did. It was like, Willian, he's there. It's not like looking at 22, 23-year-old players for the future and thinking, what can we get? We just kind of just get whatever's there. And that, again, disappoints me. We don't seem to have a plan. And sometimes it works. It works great, like Willian or whatever. But then we've got Traore, similar player, and he spent most of the season injured. And I don't know what our plan is. It just feels like we go and get whatever deadwood is there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it's uninspiring to say the least, Sonny.
It is a bit like, I've noticed that it's, I wouldn't call it where Premier League players go to die, but you've sort of trying to resurrect people. I'm thinking of Pereira, I'm thinking of even Mitrovic, like you sort of resurrected his career. So it is quite interesting. And moving on now, I like to draw comparisons between Tottenham and Fulham, because I feel like Fulham are still quite, like, they're a London team that I respect. A lot of the other London teams I just don't really get on with. But obviously we both lost our star strikers in the summer. You touched on Mitrovic just before. Obviously I've made clear what I thought of the Harry Kane debacle. Obviously now I'm okay with it because we're sort of ticking along, but I think sooner rather than later we're going to be like, we need a new striker. But with Mitrovic leaving, is it just a massive chasm in the focal point for Fulham?
Do you know what? It really is. And for like your viewers who don't know, I'm a season ticket holder, so I'm there every Saturday or every other Saturday, and it's like we genuinely play like he's still on the pitch but he's died, and we're all really sad about it. Like we get the ball out wide, we cross it in, and no one's there. We get the ball out wide, we cross it in, and no one's there. Again, like he was so important to us. I obviously said this a lot last season. I think Palhinha is more important to our team in terms of just the balance of that spine in terms of just what he does defensively, he's a joke. So it's not like we lose Mitrovic and I think, oh, we're going to get relegated now or anything like that. But it's such a miss, Sonny. When we just needed something, it was just, I'll just loop it back post and he'll climb above. I think he climbed above Trent last season. There's so many players he just dominated in the back at the air. In the back post, and it's a massive miss. We replaced him with Raul Jimenez, who cannot head a ball. Such a good player before that injury, but just doesn't seem to be the same now. And I don't know, mate. I don't know. We haven't seemed to have recovered as much or as well as you have from the Kane loss.
Yes. I think that's just, it's down to managerial stuff as well. But it's still drawing comparisons. Obviously, Tottenham fans have not been happy with Levy. That's sort of quietened down due to our positive start. But I've seen a few Fulham fans, because I know a few from TalkSport as well, who they're not too happy with Tony Khan and his son. Where's your current stance on that ownership?
Yeah, well, the position on that is that we've basically got, Tony Khan. They're just playing career mode with us. Like, his son is in charge of all of the transfers. We don't have, at least from my opinion, and what I'm seeing and what other fans are seeing, we don't have a plan. We just have someone who's half focused on wrestling, because they're in a wrestling firm in America, and half focused on Fulham. And it doesn't work. You need full focus. You need a team. You need something that, like I said at the beginning of this, they're actually building a plan of, we're going to sign these players and this is the plan in 5 years and we're going to sell them on and we're going to hopefully keep them. And that's where we want to aim to. It's just, what am I doing this week? Oh yeah, Fulham transfers. That window closes in a week. Who's free? Oh, Iwobi's on the free. Well, he's cheap. We'll get him. Oh, Traore's. Yeah, grab Traore. Sign Willian again. See what? Raul Jimenez. Yeah, he's about. Yeah, he was good 8 years ago. Let's get him in. It's just like... It's just a mess, and there's a lot of problems with our stadium as well. The stand, I don't know if you've heard about that, but that's giving everyone a bit of anxiety
as well. I can't believe the prices of some of those.
The prices. So there's actually going to be a protest at the Manchester United game, the home game. We're going to protest against that. All season ticket holders are doing a march before the game. So there's a lot of unrest. I mean, the stand. The company that was instructed to build that has gone bust, and now there's a big problem of not another company wanting to come in and take over that because of all of the litigations and legalities behind if something goes wrong. That, they won't touch another firm's work. So we've basically got this 80% complete stand that isn't done, and we're not really sure. Like, no one wants to finish it, and so I feel like the owners want to sell the club, and that's why they're not going out and spending money. So there's a lot of unrest. It
seems a bit weird, because I've seen, like, obviously Tony Khan owns the NFL team. The name escapes me, but he's been at is it the Jacksonville Jaguars? That's it. He's been at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium recently with Levy, sort of promoting it, because obviously we have the NFL games there, and it seems like his eggs are fully in that basket. And he's just one of those American owners who was like, I'm going to just buy an English team and just sort of have it as my plaything. So it is just sad to see, considering the history of Fulham and the respect I have for Fulham as well. And I don't know if you know this, but when we were being linked with Ange Postecoglou, I was a bbit unsure about the appointment. And I actually said to someone in a WhatsApp group, I think I'd prefer Marco Silva. So I just want to get your thoughts on, obviously Tottenham and his start to life at Tottenham and Marco Silva. Do you think Marco Silva is the difference between Fulham, doing well this season?
Yeah, I really do. I think he's a brilliant manager. I don't know whether he's a Tottenham level manager where you want to be pushing on to actually trying to win trophies at the top level. That Marco Silva has never proved, right? Like, he's done well in Portugal, he's then come over, he's done well at certain clubs in England, Watford, and then got moves to Everton, which you'd argue is a similar step up to like a Tottenham at the time, and failed. Whether that's because of what manager has succeeded at Everton, do you know what I mean, since David Moyes. But he plays a style of football that we love as a fan base, and I think would have suited Tottenham in a same, 4-3-3, attacking wingers, direct, dynamic. Like, it does work. But I think my thoughts on Postecoglou, similar to everyone else, he just seems like such a good lad. Yeah. He's such a great bloke. Everything he says, you're like, I kind of want him to be my dad. He's just so chill, and everything he says is great. But the results don't lie. I think you've had a fairly easy start, right? Like, you haven't, you've had a few tough games, but even playing us now at home, it's a fairly comfortable start to life in the Prem for him. I don't really think that he's failed many tests for you yet. I think he's looking the real deal.
I think the tests are yet to come. You know, we've got quite a threadbare squad. Injuries could be a worry. AFCON is a worry. We're losing two of our best players so far this season. So I'm not going to worry about that all yet. But
you have isn't Son going as well?
yeah,
You've
Son's
got an Asian Cup.
Oh mate, and then like I don't know if you saw the footage of him against Vietnam. He was like limping off, and then he scored. I was like,
no.
what's going on? Jurgen Klinsmann's the manager of South Korea, and he's not doing any favours for his former club. But before I get your predictions and how you see the match going, I just want to get your opinion on, you know, this is like a London derby and a London rivalry. I wouldn't say it's the most heated, but you know, when it comes to Fulham, looking at the other London clubs, where does Tottenham sort of fit in? Because obviously you've got Chelsea, apparently your local rivals, but it's not too much of a rivalry, if you don't mind me saying that. But like, you know, where does Tottenham above West Ham, Palace? Where do you sort of see the London landscape for teams?
For us, I don't know. I feel like for me, it's Brentford and QPR and Chelsea. They're just our big three rivals, and all for slightly different reasons. Brentford a lot more like current because of like we've had the playoffs against them, which we beat them in. We've had like you know some fun, like big games. They like beat us 3-0 this season at home. So I wouldn't put Spurs in a rivalry for me. I just wouldn't. It's a weird relationship with Spurs. We sell a lot of players to you and we buy players from you, don't we? Historically, it seems like our owners seem to get on. Potentially, that's you know, I don't know. I don't see us as like a big rivalry, but it's always nice to take points off of like London clubs as well. And it's I just think, how do I see the game going? Would you ask me that as well? I don't know really, mate. It's a weird one with us. I just don't know what version of us. We had so many strange games this season where we've had red cards and mistakes at the back. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see us getting a win.
Even like, you know, the Carabao Cup, mentioned that earlier on. You knocked us out. I know it was on penalties, but you played really well against us. That was our second string though. But you sort of gave us. That's the only game I've seen us really struggle with this season. Like, we haven't been able to play the way we wanted, but that was because we had Højbjerg and Skip and players like that, so who can't really move the ball how Postecoglou wants to.
Come on, I'll take the win, and it's good. And obviously for Fulham, even to beat a second-string Spurs side, you know what I mean? That's probably a better team than Fulham. It's a better, you know, you've got some serious players in there. Højbjerg isn't. I know he's maybe not playing well for Tottenham at the moment, but he's an international player. You in the summer as well. He could have joined us. I would have took him. I would have been happy with it. And I think, you know, that was probably Postecoglou testing out members of his squad. And there's probably a reason that half those players who played haven't featured a lot for Spurs since. So I wouldn't look too much into that cup game.
Yeah, and score prediction? How do you see it going that way?
Score prediction, I'd hope that we can cut out defensive errors, which we've had a few too many recently. And I think, unfortunately, we will win 2-1. Go on. I can't say we'll lose on your channel. I think we could potentially lose, but I'm going to go with a 2-1 win. Why not? I think Harry Wilson played well on international duty. 2 goals for Wales. He's coming in. He's going to get a goal. I think we'll have a 2-1 win. We'll upset the Spurs. You know, you come back from your little international break thinking you're going to win the league. Yeah. This is the start of the downfall. I
think we're going to win 3-1. I fancy you getting a goal, but I think that defence, I'm looking at the Fulham defence. It's not been as strong as it was last season. I think Leno is
leaky.
Leno's been great, but like Tim Ream, Diop's looked a bit shaky, and Robinson,
Diop,
like that whole. I thought that was one of your best assets last year. You know, you had I think you conceded a high XG, but you were able. Leno was just performing miracles. But yeah, I think 3-1 win at the end. Yeah,
it's a smart shout to make. To be honest, if I didn't have a Fulham hat on, I'd probably be saying that as well. It's just too many defensive mistakes, and I think we hopefully see another. We won't, but we probably will see another one.
But yeah, thanks very much, John, for jumping on. Really appreciate it. Get you in for the reverse fixture as well. Obviously, if you haven't checked out John's channel and you love your pro clubs as much as I do, John is the king of pro clubs on YouTube. I have to say that. So go over to JCC, check it out. The link will be in the description below. And as I say, I've been Sonny Talk Spurs. Hope you've enjoyed this little Fulham Tottenham preview. It's not until Monday, sadly, which is a long wait over the weekend. But yeah, like the video, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. And I'll see you again pretty soon. Bye.
See you later. Thanks, Sonny.